SmackDown was built around the idea that last week Drew McIntyre had kicked Cody Rhodes' face off and he no longer had a face. Later on, Drew was going to come to the ring. He was going to tell us about this, because why wouldn't you give a crazy person a platform to come out and say, ha ha, I John Travolta'd that guy. Before we did get to that though, do you know who kicked off SmackDown? Solo Sikoa and his MFTs. Also, hello my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need. We are now back to normal, thank goodness, and I'm going to ask you today to go and share this with everyone. Actually, maybe not this one. This is a great segue, right? I'm a positive guy, but it doesn't mean I'm not an honest guy. Sometimes people think, oh man, he's so positive, he never says anything bad. That's called being a wet blanket. We do not do that here. Gonna give you a warning now. I didn't think this episode of SmackDown was very good. Let's up those doubts. So yes, Solo Sikoa and his goons came to the ring and basically said, SmackDown is our show, and if you don't like it, tough. I was like, well, I actually do like it, because I like you, Solo, but I guess there's nothing else we can do. And the credits rolled, and we all went home. That didn't happen. He was also mad at Sami Zayn because, of course, he had come to their show and attacked them, so they had gone to his show and attacked him too, or something like that. But he had officially stomped his ass out, which I guess is something that Mario could say to Goombas. But he's also done it to Jimmy Uso, and he's also done it to Jacob Fatu. So once again, Solo is the king. Sikoa then ordered somebody to come out and challenge him, which is a bit weird because he basically insinuated he didn't want that. And that's right. Guess who it was? Sami Zayn, who does not care about the brand split. But as we're about to find out, in around about 5 minutes, neither does WWE. He told the MFTs to back off as well because he wants to talk to Solo Sikoa one-on-one, and they obeyed this, even though they're meant to be bad guys, when he actually said, I was this close to beating Rusev recently, which would have been one step closer to the World Championship. In fact, I probably would have got a match at Clash in Paris. If I was Sheamus, I would have jumped out of bed and gone, wait a minute, I defeated Rusev recently, where the flub is my match? So someone is lying. Sami then actually thanked Solo, and this one really got me, because he has been too focused on the World Championship, and he shouldn't have done that because it's now serving as a distraction, because he's realised there's another belt that he wants, which he's also never won, which is the US title. I'm like, man, that's what a kid does. It's like, man, I love my little Matchbox car. Screw that, I don't want it anymore. Somebody give me an ice cream. But I thought the whole point is that Sami Zayn was laser focused on this because he was going to win it, and Solo was like, I don't care what you're saying. You're a Raw guy. Not a SmackDown guy. I could feel it. I could feel it in my tum-tum because Sam went, ha ha, you're totally wrong. I am now officially on Friday nights. And there's a lot to jump in here. One, WWE better not do a crazy, oh my gosh, the draft is coming and it's really important. I'll be mad about it for probably around 5 minutes, then I'll get over it, because it doesn't matter that much. But also, two, while I understand that Sami Zayn turned down a move to SmackDown because he didn't want to be manipulated a few months ago, when that offer was on the table on Raw, it was to fight for the undisputed title, and he said no. I just kind of feel like you had to tie that into the narrative here, so it did make sense. As it turned out, it's 2 + 2 = potato, or Sami Zayn has taken his ambition and he's lowered it to 4. He then told Solo that because he took something away from him, he's going to take something away from him. You really need two people to be having this conversation to make sense of it, when, of course, the MFTs attacked him. And who came out to make the save? Finally, they're back on the show. It's Jimmy Uso and it's Jacob Fatu. Now, I have a big question about this, and we'll talk about it as we do go on. Jacob Fatu seemed perfectly fine with Sami Zayn going after the US title. Like a few weeks ago, that was more important than, I don't know, when he used to love Solo. Remember that? I love you, Solo. It was like, I love you, US title. Now he doesn't care. I suppose we can call those two J&J Security, though, because we've never used that name before. And then this ended with Nick Aldis walking out and going, so happy you have fallen out. I didn't have a main event, so you guys are booked. We have to stop doing that as well. It's the law of diminishing returns. If you do it every single week, well, it's just a bit dull. There's also one final question as well, because of course LA Knight recently went to Raw and now Sami Zayn has gone to SmackDown. So why don't all wrestlers do this? Like, we have seen people say, well, I've got beef with that person, but I'm not allowed to cross this dividing line. Apparently, that's a bunch of crap. So again, there's just so much you need to kind of sort out when it does come to, what's the word I'm even looking for? Sense. We'll go with sense. This feels so rushed as well, like I don't think it has been a long-term plan. And it also kind of feels like someone's gone, do you know what was really good? When Sami Zayn used to mix it up with the bloodline. So let's just get back to that. It doesn't feel like the same cool storyline though, because again, to me, there's a bunch of plot holes. But as I always say, if you enjoyed it and it made you feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum, hell yeah, man, that's the entire point. It's an entertainment show, but I'm giving it a down, which is crazy, because a bunch of people in the ring are like my favorite wrestlers right now. But this was not the way. Chelsea Green, however, then did win the night, because she was then there with her Secret Service and said, listen, you're lucky I am stood here, because last week I got thrown into some cake. I could have been seriously injured. I mean, we've all been there. I think Piper Niven and Alba Fire then promised to confiscate the women's tag team titles, which was an amazing line. When, yes, of course, we did Alexa Bliss taking on Piper Niven, because I presume that soon we will do her Secret Service, I should say, taking on Charlotte and Alexa for the championships. But I don't care, man. At least these belts are getting on TV. Usually what happens is they do fall into the abyss, and at the moment we're on a bit of a streak. Like 4 episodes long, but better is better. Now, I'm not sure anybody actually thought that Piper was going to win. But halfway through this, she did do this crazy dance where she took off her jacket, and I enjoyed that. And she crushed Alexa Bliss with like 3 cannonballs, but Bliss kicked out the 1-2-0. You know the deal, though. It is a WWE show in 2025, so bam, a 1 goes on the dick board, because of course there was distraction, interference, and confusion. I mean, not only was Alba Fire getting on the ring apron, but so was Chelsea Green, although actually it turned out right for Alexa, because she pushed Piper Niven into Tina the Turnbuckle when she hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment as the Braz roll up, and she got the 1-2-3. So that's a down 2, because that finish is totally overdone, and after this, Chelsea Green and her people totally beat the crap out of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, and they had no friends because nobody came to make the save, which meant Chelsea was standing tall. And she even did a little bit of a salute. I still had fun with this though, so I am going to give it an up. And again, I'll take that feud. That's perfectly fine. I mean, I don't think the Secret Herfists are going to win the tag team championships, but I'll just repeat what I just said. It's on my TV. I get to see those belts. 9 times out of 10, what happens with them is pretty good. Which is not the same when we go up the ladder to the Women's Championship on SmackDown, because we cut backstage, and it was like Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill had just been arguing for the entire week. So we went Britney Spears here, because oops, we did it again. Of all the people, Nia Jax then walked in, and look, let me make something clear. Tiffany, awesome. Jade Cargill, awesome. Nia Jax, vastly underrated. Go and watch her match with Last Legend from this week's NXT. It's a barrel of fun. But how on earth have we gone back to Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax for like the 4th time in 2025? And I think that is happening, because Tiffany was like, I will not fight you, Jade. And listen, Nia, I said it last week, I'll say it again. The story may be different, but the ending will be the same. And Nia looked pretty confident that she was going to get a shot. I also don't understand why Tiffany Stratton still doesn't have a proper feud. I mean, just carry on the Jade Cargill thing, put them both in the ring, and let them cut promos. And somebody will go, well, they're not very good at doing that. Well, do you know how you get better? You give them experience of doing it. Soon after this, Kiana James walked in as well and tried to recruit Tiffany Stratton with the wonderful sales pitch of, I can get you a pink title. Tiff wasn't interested when Meechin walked in and said, I really would like a shot at Julia's USA Championship. And James said no. I don't think we've seen Julia in like 4 weeks. She could be lost. She could be stuck in the Phantom Zone, and we would not know. This poor Women's US Championship, it is persona non grata. All of it is getting it down. I mean, once again, it's just like this. All right, guys, I've got the hat of stories. This is what we're going to do. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to put the names in there. What did we do 6 months ago? Let's do it again. And I'm also going to give it down for the Miz and Carmelo Hayes as a tag team for the exact words that I had just said. We had ended the story, and now for no reason, we have gone back to it. Why doesn't Carmelo Hayes just say no? There's more to that as well, though, because they were taking on Fraxiom, so I was like, okay, that's fine. Nathan Frazier and Axiom can get a win. That can, like, put a wedge between the Miz and Carmelo Hayes when you could do a quick match. And they do go off in their separate directions. But nope, the Miz and Carmelo Hayes won. Now listen, I would always take Carmelo Hayes being on a winning team and the fans behind him, which was really cool. At least he was on the show. Sometimes he vanishes as well. But I just don't think we had to do this. Especially because afterwards, Carmelo Hayes went to Nick Aldis. I want a US title shot. Miz was like, screw that. We just want a tag team match. So now next week, we're going to have a tag team match against the Motor City Machine Guns. I want to make it really clear as well that I do want Carmelo Hayes to get more. And I think the Miz is an absolute Hall of Famer. He's had a wonderful career. But I just do not understand why they need to be in the tag team division when actually, compared to Raw, that has no tag teams, SmackDown has too many. I just think the better story would have been the Miz getting pinned and Melo being like, see, I told you, I am better by myself, and he could just beat him on SmackDown. But nope, he did hit this amazing car onto Nathan Frazier, because again, Carmelo Hayes and Nathan Frazier are really good when the Miz blind tagged himself in skull-crushing finale 1, 2, 3, which goes back to the original question, why the hell would Carmelo Hayes want to team with this man? So I am going to give the overall idea a down, but I'm going to do what I always do, because everything that Carmelo Hayes was doing is going to get an up. And I feel like we should support Melo because We talked about it. If you had started watching SmackDown like 3 weeks ago, you probably wouldn't even know he was a character. When the downs continue, it's like raining downs today. But while I understand Cody Rhodes not being on this show, because of course Drew McIntyre was about to come to the ring and tell us I destroyed that man, I think you really needed to have John Cena. And I get it, he's got limited dates, which is an issue, but we were just lacking some super duper whooper babyface star, and we didn't get it. I mean, that's probably why we did do what we did do with Sami Zayn, but this episode of SmackDown absolutely needed something more. I think I've used this word, I'll use it again. It was a little bit drab. Down. Thankfully, Drew McIntyre is brilliant, and he came out and he was like, oh man, I did destroy Cody Rhodes' face last week. In fact, play the footage, let's see it again. He then asked Joe Tessitore and the WWE medical team while nobody had released a health update, and it's because he knows that Cody is in a bad place, and maybe the Golden Boy is in trouble. When he was like, actually Cody, I did you a favor, I know you've had the weight of the world on your shoulders, and Drew McIntyre just lifted it. McIntyre also mentioned that he has been there before, so now hopefully Cody can realize you don't need to worry about the fans, you don't even need to worry about your future legacy because everybody forgets about you. It's what we do right here, right now. And that's why Drew has to become the world champion, because he's earned it. And also, Cody, you finished your story, and let's face it, without your little bookie whook, you nothing. He then had the best explanation, as he always does, about why he attacked Cody, which was, he didn't strike first at all. And he went through it beat by beat and was like, he took me to the outside. Cody was going to throw me into Alan the announce table. It's not like he was going to have a friendly chat. So actually, I just retaliated. So if you want to blame anyone, look at Cody Rhodes. I'm like, actually, Drew McIntyre is telling the truth. He also said that he was the real nightmare before he threw the microphone on the ring and he just left. And this dude somehow needs to win the WWE title, even though if we do this at Clash in Paris, I don't think you do the title change that quickly. But I am going to give it an up. He treated this like it was the most serious thing in the world, and he gave SmackDown an injection of goodness that it absolutely needed. But then just got the oddest backstage segment with some of the SmackDown tag teams too, because the MFTs bumped into the Street Profits as we teased the match between those two, and Solo Sikoa got mad at Tala, I'm really tall Tonga, was like, what are you looking at? The camera panned out, and he was staring at Eric Rowan. Now, we also saw the Wyatt Six during that Miz-Carmelo Hayes match, so suppose they're just trying to be spooky wooky. I'll be honest with you, kind of made me go, we've seen this before, and we never really got anywhere with it. When the Street Profits did indeed go to the ring and they defeated DIY, and I needed this in my veins, it was just a really good tag team match. Now, of course, we've got to put one on the dick board because Candice LeRae and B-Fab were getting involved. And at one point, Candice was just hitting Hurricane Ranas, but the good guys still won, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. And again, they just went totally crazy. You could sit down, you could have a bag of popcorn, and you likely had the best time. Montez Ford also did one of the craziest crossbodies that you'd ever seen, and Angelo Dawkins got a hot-ish tag, and that guy knows how to run wild. And yeah, Montez hit the splash of the frogs, and he got the 1, 2, 3. We kind of insinuated, like I've said, it will be them versus the MFTs, and I suppose Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. I should have mentioned that too. During that match, the commentators were like, well, Melo and Miz just won one match. I guess they can go after the tag team titles. I was like, if that's the bar, I could do this. Somebody call Nicholas. We're not going back to that, though. I am going to give this match an up. Like, there's not much else to say about it, but good is good. This was good. As was the R-Truth promo, and again, this is something that I needed, because Byron Saxton was talking to Truth, and he was so damn happy. He was elated that John Cena has gone back to being his childhood hero, when Aleister Black interrupted, and instantly R-Truth became serious man Ron Killings. We talked about this last week. He can be two people, he can be two sides. He's a real-life human being. Nobody is just one of them. He told Black not to get in his face either, and I think we're doing this match next week. My hand then did go up, because I was like, where the flub is Damian Priest? I know we wrote him off TV, but somebody should at least mention his name. But again, we've been critical enough on this week's show. I'm giving this bit an up. I just really like R-Truth. We then clearly tried to get some of that bloodline chemistry back too, because Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso were having fun in the back. When Sami was like, oh, Jacob, I'd love to be friends with you too. And Fatu was like, no, I don't like you. And he stormed out of there. But don't worry, because in about 10 minutes, all of this was going to be fine. That, of course, was our main event as well. It was Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu taking on the MFTs. And, of course, won the dick board because Tala, I'm really tall Tonga, kept interfering. I mean, it's not his fault. He's still relatively new. He probably looked at the environment and was like, oh, great, we can do whatever we want. Dick board. At 1.2, Jimmy Uso most definitely did hit a dive, 2025. This is one on the dive counter, and actually throw up by 4, because some of those earlier tag team matches, people were going dive crazy. when Sami Zayn hit the least devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the Blue Thunder Bomb. And did it work? Of course it didn't. It never does. Fatu then did another dive. That's a 1 on the dive counter when Sami Zayn was in there with Solo. He missed the big thumb and he got him with the haluva kick and he pinned the US champion for the 1-2-3. So when we go to Paris, France, we probably have a US title match. Of course, right after this too, as I already mentioned, Jacob Fatu and Sami Zayn were just totally fine with each other, even though Jacob's US title opportunity may have just gone down the toilet. And I really hope this is some sort of a ruse, although you don't want to do that either because Sami and Jacob are massive baby faces. So I do have to give that bit a down, even if I am being overreactionary, but it just made me scratch my head. I'm sure this tied into everything else I saw on this episode of SmackDown, but the match can get an up. Like, it was a really fun 6-man tag, but as a main event, I was just kind of there, dude. At least it didn't end in a disqualification. Which brings us to the end of SmackDown, and we're going to do something we haven't done in a while because I am overall going to give it a down. And it comes down to the fact that you don't actually ever need to watch this episode of the show. All you need to do is read up about it and get the beats, and you basically had the same experience. I will say, if you just want to sit down and watch the matches out of context, you will enjoy them. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that Clash in Paris is only in a few weeks. We need to light a fire under this show. But yeah, giving it a down. And you can disagree, that would actually make me happy because it means you had a better time than I. Now, of course, do make sure you let me know that in the comments below before you like the video, share the video and subscribe. Click the video on the screen for ups and downs for Raw, which I also thought was a bit nuts. Maybe I've just woken up on the wrong side of bed, or maybe I'm just being truthful. There's only one way to find out. Well, there's not really. Either way, have a great day, and I'll see you next week.